Welcome to another edition of Keeping It 84. This is Paul Penniman, the old white guy, along with 400 miles away.
$20.
He cannot keep a straight face. The young black man. And we've been talking, this is our 8th episode, Mr. Dollars.
Is it 8 or 10?
Somewhere in that vicinity.
I think this is episode 10.
Maybe it's number 9. We can split the difference.
Okay.
We had to throw out one, remember?
Really? Okay, all right.
We were too honest that day. We have to keep it 84. We can't be too honest. We're talking about the racial and cultural divides across the Anacostia River. Even though I represent Southeast DC, I've pretending I'm a black person in some ways. I'm actually in Ohio trying to, the word they use now is, I don't really want to say the word, but it's un-F Ohio to get it back to voting Democrat. So that's what we're trying to do in the Senate race and the governor's race. But we can still talk about the differences between our two cultures, can't we?
Yes, we can. I'm going to do my best.
And to
my side.
And to reset things, just to let everybody know, I started working at Anacostia High School back in 2010, and you were a sophomore, junior, something like that.
I was in 2010. I was a sophomore.
So you got to know us and our tutors, and I was thought to be a serial killer. Maybe a child molester. All kinds of rumors were swirling.
Yes.
But somehow I've managed to avoid incarceration for more than a few hours anyway.
Well, you can do that.
White people can skate by, can't they?
Yes.
They can just get away with a lot of things.
We was talking about the episodes earlier, whether this is 10, you said 8. I want us to at least get to 13 episodes and beyond. There was a podcast that I was looking at, and I was getting interested in it, and they were talking about similar things that we're talking about, like, with police brutality, white versus black, and protesting and all that stuff. And, they were just more informal than we are, or at least I am. But I was really getting into it, but they stopped at the 13th episode. Now, I haven't seen it lately. I have to go back and see if they ever added any more. But that was over 2 months ago, and they just stopped. But I was really getting into it. And I think part of it is because, they didn't really have too many people subscribing, low subscribership or whatever, and views. So they just said it ain't going nowhere. So I guess they stopped. I hope we don't do that.
Did they have an old whitey like me?
No, it was just a guy who that retired from the military and his girlfriend.
And were they white and black, or both black, or what were they?
They were both black. He was darker than her. She was like lighter skin. She had a nice. I think she was mixed with something, but she was still black. Trust me, when she talked, she's black. But they were just talking about the racial indifferences and things like that.
When I was first running a program in Southeast, neighborhood program, kids coming of all ages after school. And I hired a couple people in the neighborhood to help me. And one of them said, "Oh, Marcel, that light-skinned guy." And I was like, "He's black. What do you mean he's light-skinned? He's black." That's all I knew, black and white.
Right.
But now I can sort of sense different colors. There's caramel, there's dark skin.
Different colors. See, that's the beauty of black people. We're different shades of black. Y'all can't do that. Y'all just white. It's one big solid color. Y'all are white. But in black, we have light skin, yellow boned, and all the way down to jet black. It's just beautiful. We're basically a rainbow in ourselves.
I'm glad you feel that way. But what do you call that person who has no pigment at all?
What, they still black, or what are you talking about?
Well, they could be black, but it's usually a white person because we dominate the race system in
Right.
general.
But you're talking about a black person that doesn't have no pigmentation?
Not necessarily a black person, but I was trying to say that there were different gradations of white. Like there's the type of people that have no color in their skin at all, and I can't remember the
But
name.
they're still white though.
Albino. You've seen an albino person?
No, I haven't.
They're quite.
But they still call that person like in our black community, if they're just as almost white, like a white person, but you can still tell that they black, we call them albino. And then
Yeah,
if they
there are
mix, we
black.
call them mulatto.
There are black
But
albinos because they've got hair like a black person, and they still can't get a cab just like a black person.
right.
So
See, at that point, I think it's our demeanor that they can tell. Because some people can pass for white, but it's always something to let you know that they're still black. Like I told you about in one episode, I think it was episode 3, about me visiting one of my grandma's friends in the hospital. She can pass for white, but you can still tell in a way that she's black. But if you ain't too careful, you can look at her and think she's a white woman,
you have
but
to
she
give
was
her
black.
you have to give her a script. This is how you talk like a white person, right?
She was, yeah, she kind of talked like a white person, but trust me, when you get her angry, the black comes out. And I think
Well,
that's the part that distinguish us, to let us know that we're black compared to just passing for white, or just, oh, is she white or black? You'll know by that when she
I
start
think
talking and getting angry.
I think the whole idea of a black albino would be good for the old Chappelle show. You know, he's walking around looking for a cab, and the taxi comes along thinking it's a white person, and then, oh, wait a minute, you're black. I can't pick you up.
I did look at that Eddie Murphy skit, SNL. That was hilarious.
Right. He makes believe he's white. He makes himself into a white person. And everyone gives him a pass, lets him go anywhere, doesn't have to pay for the bus fare.
Can you imagine if that was really going on? I wouldn't even say it's too far fetched anyway. So I just hope we can go past this and just keep talking. I really enjoyed talking to you. This show is like I said, from what I've heard and what I read, opinion is the lowest form of knowledge. And this show is about nothing anyway, but what we think and our opinions and what we observe, and we just do it through storytelling and what we've been through in our life. So, it's no need to get too serious about what we're talking about, but there is some truth to what we're saying, for what because we experienced it. The fact that you wanted to do this, maybe this was part of your bucket list, to just do a podcast with some black guy uh about why are black people the way we are, why we're angry, why is this whole thing set up the way it is. I know another thing you could put on your bucket list, Mr. Penniman. Why don't you get a 38-year-old black girl pregnant and she have your black baby?
Well, I actually already decided to move to Australia. And once I get into trouble with this podcast, then it'll be okay.
So you're going to really try to move there after this?
I might have to escape. Yeah.
Yeah, you might. That's fine. That's fine. And me, I ain't worried about nothing, because what they going to do with me? What
Hey,
they going to do? Throw me in jail? Ooh, okay.
Can we talk about chicken for a second?
Sure.
The whole idea of chicken keeps coming back in my life, because I sent emails to all the alums, and I said, hey, you should visit me in Cleveland. And now I'm being visited by actually one of your contemporaries from Anacostia. And we went out to dinner, and we had this nice Italian meal. He's got cheese ravioli, and I've got something in meatballs.
Okay.
And he says, can I add chicken to this? And I'm looking at him like, that scene in the movie, every night the effing chicken. What is it about this? Why do we have chicken? So my question is, you black people, do you have to have chicken at least every other night, if not every night? Is it part of your religion?
Yes. I personally, that's why I say I'm a little different. I personally don't fool with chicken too much, unless like okay, my grandma just celebrated her 83rd birthday. So we had a party for her. And guess what was there?
Chicken.
I mean, we had my aunt cooked like a big tray of just chicken wings. And of
That's
course,
good.
macaroni and cheese.
Homemade is the best.
Yes. So it was sitting there, and she had it all lined up very nicely in the pan. I don't know if it was about, it had to be over 30 pieces of chicken wings in there. And then I went out the kitchen to go downstairs, I think to take the trash out or something. Then I came back up and it was all gone. They all had it on their plates. So yeah, we love chicken wings. We love chicken.
Sometimes I think people put a few on their plates and then they might have a purse or a backpack or something and they'll just take it for later.
Yeah.
White people do that. Do black people do that?
I don't know. So that's why I say I know some things about our culture. Uh there's some things I know because it's just automatic because I'm black. So I'm going to be exposed to it. But other things I have to find out from other people who are really truly, I ain't gonna say black because I'm black anyway, but like hood, hood black. I have to find out from them. Do y'all really do this? Because some things I just don't know. But I'll eventually find out because I'm in the hood anyway. That's why I say this podcast is about a white retired man who has a few dollars in his pocket and a black broke guy in Southeast who's just trying to make it, trying to go to work, trying to get a second job, and just make ends meet. That's it.
Yeah, well, I do have
And
more
get
than
laid. And get laid.
well, I do have more than $20, I guess. But I need to also talk to you about tank tops, aka wife beaters. Is that a sexist term, wife beaters?
I thought it meant wife beaters.
WIFE, right? Your
Yeah,
spouse.
are they called white beaters or wife beaters?
Like you're beating up your wife.
Yeah, because you talking about the tank tops, right?
Yeah, we don't wear those things. White people don't wear
No,
those
y'all don't wear that.
garments.
That's a black thing in the hood. I'm seeing them wearing it now. That's all I'm gonna see throughout the summer. Them wearing it, riding their bicycles up and down the street on one wheel. Hey, what's up? What's going on, man? What's going on, JR? What's going on? Nothing. Shoot, ain't nothing. They always say it like this. Same SHIT, different day.
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessarily a hood thing, isn't it? I mean, if I saw a black lawyer change his button-down shirt, is there a
That's why
good
I said
chance?
in the hood, it's really something you wear under your clothes, but they wear it as a regular shirt. You'll never. The only way, even if I was to get fit, which I will, because I got to get sexy for the ladies at some point, you just wouldn't catch me wearing that by itself. You could get away with it if you are muscular, but you got fat slobs out here that wear that and they're comfortable with it.
Yeah, well,
Talking about the hood.
we're not even wearing it as an undergarment. We're just not even we don't
Oh,
even know
white
where these
folks.
exist. In the stores that we go to, they don't exist.
Okay, so y'all don't wear that. That's just us then.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
when I heard that term, I ain't gonna lie, I heard that term 2 years ago. I uh it was one white supervisor at our job. He came, it was a hot day, so he came in and he took off his button-down shirt because he had to help us out with the boxes. And he had on the tank top. And we
yeah.
were surprised because, like you said, Mr. Penniman, we don't usually see white people with that on, but maybe he was, screwing a black girl at the time and she just got him turned on to it. I don't know. But that's when one of my coworkers said, "Oh, he got on a white beater." And I kept thinking, wife beater. Because he looked more like he'll beat his wife with it on than for it to just be on because he been with a black girl. So I
So
thought
where
it was
exact
wife beater, but I think it's called white beaters
where exactly was this?
at work.
Wow, did you take a picture?
No, because we can't. Mr. Penniman, unlike most of my coworkers who be on their phones on Facebook but pretending like they're doing work, I don't bring my phone. Like when I bring my phone in, I turn it off and put it in my book bag and put it in the locker because I'm there to work. The way I work, I don't have time to get on the phone. My phone will fly somewhere into the conveyor belt the way I be moving and sorting boxes and going. So I can't really be on my phone. So I just put my phone up.
Plus, he might give you a knuckle sandwich if you took his picture while he's
See, what
changing his clothes.
he a white guy. What are you gonna do to me? He'll more likely sue me before he give me a knuckle sandwich.
That's right. You're going to hear from my lawyer.
Yes. So yeah,
All
that's
right. So there's one topical thing that I have to bring up because I've been speaking to a number of my ex students about Stephen Colbert.
oh my God,
Tell
that's
me, tell me everything you know about Stephen Colbert. You're going to be my black focus group right now.
Stephen Colbert. Okay, I know he's white, first of all.
Yeah.
And he looked like he could be somebody that like, oh yeah, he's a friend of mine. And to me, he's one of the funniest, what you call late night
Right.
comedians.
Right.
I think to me he's actually my favorite.
Can you name
Then
the
then I
top?
like then I like Jimmy Kimmel though. But I
Okay, good.
love Colbert. Colbert seems to me like he's all of them are intelligent, but I think Colbert is very intellectual to me.
That's pretty good because when I talk to my ex students, they really have kind of a dim knowledge. Now we're kind of in the comedy field right now, but you know Colbert, you know Jimmy Kimmel, you know the name of the third guy who's on NBC?
Which one you talking about?
Jimmy?
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon, right, right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I like Jimmy Fallon, but he will probably be the last one I look at.
Interesting because my house guest said that Fallon's his favorite, but I don't know. I didn't really probe to ask him why.
Fallon is okay, but it's just it's like it seems like he tries too hard. And he like if somebody say something, it may be funny, but he'll laugh like and it's like calm down, it's not like that. If it was between two of the Jimmys, Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, I like Jimmy Kimmel because he's more laid back, he's more deadpan. And of course, look how he just made Trump look the way he looked. I like what Kimmel did because he said something about Trump, and then they tried to get him canceled, and he was back with what in like 48 hours. And then the first thing he said when he got back on after all the stuff that Trump tried to do, he said, "Yeah, like I was saying, to continue on what was going on, I thought that was brilliant, but he didn't try hard with it. He just said it like it was a casual thing, like he was just interrupted at a dinner party."
Well, the
But
as I
out of
was
all of them, Colbert is definitely my favorite because he seems to be his intellect seems to be on a level on another level to me.
Yeah, the as I was saying thing is actually dates back to Jack Parr, who was came before Johnny Carson, and Jack Parr was
Oh
suspended
wow.
for a night or two because of some racy thing that they did. And so when he gets back on the air, he gets a standing ovation, and he says, "As I was saying."
Yes. So we have okay, man. Uh, these television comedians. Okay, I love Joan Rivers. That's my favorite comedian of all time. So I'm going to
Yeah,
know all these white people. So we
yeah.
have, of course, the king of late night, Johnny Carson. And you said who was that before him?
Jack Parr. In fact, he was not even the first one. There was a guy named Steve Allen before that. When they in the 1950s, they tried to come up with what kind of late night show would entertain people as they were falling asleep, and that's what they came
Right.
up with.
Yeah. So that's going way back. Then we now I don't know if he was. This guy was probably daytime, but remember Ed Sullivan?
Well, he had a Sunday night variety show at 8 p.m.
Mhm.
and tens of millions of people would watch it every Sunday. And he was the one who first had the Beatles on TV, I think in 1964 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just doubled his ratings, and every teenage girl in the country was watching it, at least the white ones. I don't
Yes.
I don't know if the black ones quite caught on yet about the Beatles or any of these mop haired guys.
Well, who would you say? What black comedian you would say that kind of broke through at that time to where it kind of put black people on the market and made us more as black people at that time proud to be black? Would you say it was I want to say Dick Gregory, but then he was very edgy. But I would say more like a polished Dick Gregory would be Bill Cosby. I think so. It could have been somebody before him, but I think Bill Cosby broke that door open for black entertainers to come in, and white people love us.
Right. And it kind of reminds me of our conversation about Sam Cooke, who
Mhm.
changed his hair, got out of the this well, it's kind of weird. He didn't believe in straightening his hair,
Mm.
but he did cross over and appeal to white audiences. And Bill Cosby was dressed up like Ozzie and Harriet, the
Yes.
familiar couple at home, and just
That's why I
talked.
say I don't care what they say about him. He's a legend. And he's still alive, which is amazing. He was a legend, and it's like, okay, fine. He used Jello to rape a couple of girls, but they knew what they were getting themselves into. They could have said no, right?
Yes, they could have said no, except they were probably knocked out by whatever drugs.
But they knew if you're calling her, right? Because before they got over there, they wasn't knocked out. They wasn't induced in drugs. He had to make the phone call first to say, "Hey, uh, you want to come over to my house? I'm a married man, and I'm asking you, whether I'm a college professor or not, let any of my teachers or former teachers call me and say, do you want to come over to my house at 11 o'clock at night?" Right? Let's just say any teacher from Anacostia. I really want to say one name, but I'm not going to do it. Because there's some that I just may come to the house and they may really want to study with me, but I got other things in mind. But let a teacher call me and say, do you want to make up for this, you know, try to get your credits in? Come to me at 11:30 at night and we can discuss this. That's going to be weird, right? But I want that extra credit. But that's weird if you're telling me to come that time of night. So if you're calling me, you're my professor. I'm 17 or 18 or young, and we all know you're married. You're the Bill Cosby, and we know who your wife is. And you calling me saying, come over to your house at 11:30 at night. You already know something ain't right with that. You be like, yeah, professor, I'll see you tomorrow in class. But they already listen, whether they come over there or not, or whatever they know, whether it was wrong or not, he should have did what he did. But it's like you also know that something wasn't right with that. So why are you going over there? So just like he had very bad intentions, I ain't gonna say their intentions were bad, but they was like, oh, I can get something out of this. They wanted something out of it, whether it was to be
No,
in a movie or get a part in a movie or become a star, because he had that kind of power. They was coming over there to get something too.
so we might need to talk to James about the appropriateness of our judging Bill Cosby here. Our excellent producer, James Baugh of Little Lucky Productions, has been able to cut out anytime we convict somebody in our little court here.
Yeah, he cuts out. So I think he cut out one thing I said. But sometimes I really would like for it to be there because I want it to be there because I know what I'm saying, and it's not like I'm saying it. I'm saying this is what they think. It was one episode. It was episode 7, the one that came out not too long ago. We were talking about the police. And I said the reason why, remember, you had your story and I had mine about the police, talking about the black guys, whether they die or not. And I said, well, this is why they probably look at us because, and they let us die, or they don't care that we die because to them it's another. And I said, monkey. He probably this out. Monkey. But they're like, that's another monkey that we ain't got to worry about swinging on trees and eating bananas in the streets. So I think that was very, that kind of got to him. Or maybe it just messed up when I said it, but it looked like it was etched out. And that's
Well,
okay.
I,
That's
I might
okay.
have I might have made the decision there just because we went a little bit long, but
No, because after we said that, we still had like 15 more minutes of it, that was going on. So I think that was just a strong word to say. And like you said, he's our what you call it?
arbiter of good taste.
Okay, yeah. He knows how to, like, okay, this word may be a little too strong. Let's cut this out. The N word, we know, I ain't gonna. I ain't gonna say the N word. You notice I don't really cuss. I spell it out. I don't like to cuss, which is probably another reason why my black card was revoked. I don't like chicken too much, but I'll eat it so I won't appear to look like when I was at my grandmother's 83rd birthday party. I eat a piece of chicken just so I won't, because if I don't eat a piece of chicken and we having a party and there's black people there and it's chicken wings, people gonna look at me like, who do you think you are? You think you better than us that you can't eat a piece of chicken? So I eat a piece of chicken just so that, you know how when someone say, oh, I'm an occasional drinker, when there's a little party, I'll just drink a little bit, but I'm not really a drinker. That's how I am with chicken. But other than that, you're not gonna catch me with some Popeye's chicken, right?
So you're not,
in my mouth.
You're not going out of your way to eat chicken.
No. So okay. Yeah, I don't spell out cuss words. I personally, this is how I am. You save the cuss words for the bedroom. Like when you hitting it from the back, that's when you cuss. Like, yeah, you want me to nut all over that ASS? Yeah, baby. That's when you say, and they probably, because I don't cuss, and then I say that to her, she'll probably come harder because it's like, he usually don't say this and it sounds so good, And I'll save that for that. But just as, like, people cuss every other word they cuss, and I don't get that. There's a lady at work I know. She's every other, and she's very intelligent, but every other word is MF and this and this MF and this. Brian, what you got to do is you go to that MF and union and you pick up that MF and phone and you call them MFers and you tell them you filed that MF and grievances or grievances.
Now, if I were there, would she talk like that in front of me?
Yes. She don't give a care. She's straight hood, but she's very intelligent. A lot of times, most of them that cuss like that, two things I get out of them. They're very intelligent and they're very heartwarming. It's just the cussing is intimidating, but they cuss so much. And for what I've heard, cussing, it seemed, they was like, Brian, why you don't cuss? It's a stress reliever. They're like, that's probably why you so tensed up. I said, no, I'm tensed up because I don't get laid. I'm backed up. Once I get that, I'll be okay. But I don't need to cuss. I just, okay, Mr. Penniman. Since you know me, have you ever, be honest now, have you ever heard me use profanity? Like, really? I ain't talking about titties. I ain't talking about, stuff like that. Any girl, any part of a girl's body, except for the, I don't say the P word. I just say coochie. Like I said that, but I will say titties because titties are beautiful. And I think that word is, when you say that, it's like titties. It sounds beautiful. Like, oh, pretty titties. So I'll say that. But other words like MF, the S word, MF, and the B word, have you ever heard me say that in the tenure of us knowing each other?
No, but I think we do talk about women's body parts more than men's body parts. I mean, we mentioned, what was it, Pyramid Boy? We were doing Triangle Girl, and then we went over to Pyramid Boy because it's more three-dimensional.
Yeah, but did I ever say the P word?
No, your language.
Have I ever said the D word for the guy? Unless we're talking about Dick Clark.
But I think if my parents were alive, I'd be a little leery to have them listen to some of the things we're talking about. So
yeah, we can't. No, we can't. I'll say this: if I can keep this away from certain people, like my grandma, whether or other people, fine. But if they happen to come upon it, it won't be so detrimental to be like, oh my God, Brian, this is another side to you I didn't know, because I sound like this all the time. But when we're talking about different things and we really get into the conversation, there's certain things that I will say that I would not say around my grandma, but it's not bad if she hear it. It's not like, oh my God, I didn't want you to hear that, because it ain't going to be where it's bleeded out like, doop, 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 doop. It's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
Or MF and this. I'll never say that. And matter of fact, grandma played a part in one of the reasons why I don't cuss, so you won't have me say MF or this. I try to do it, Mr. Penniman. It just won't come out. I feel like when I say it, my whole mouth is coming out. Like it's just gonna fall out. It seemed like, loose lips. It seemed like it's so loose that my whole mouth gonna fall apart when I say it. I just don't like to do it. But my grandma, I had to be about 4 or 5 years old. I was watching Harlem Nights. You know that movie?
Is Richard Pryor in it?
Yes, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and Red Fox. Three generations of funny, all in one movie, along with Della Reese. There was a scene in the movie, and Della Reese was going to fight Eddie Murphy. And she was like, yeah, um, I'm gonna fight you. She started beating him up, and then he shot her toe off. But you know, in the movie they cussing, and I think he said something. He was Eddie Murphy was like, you better get away from me. I'm a f you up. Get away from me. And she was like, oh, come on. And I just started repeating that because I never heard that before. I said, oh, I'm a f you up. I'm a f you up. And I'm here. I am 4 years old, so I'm running around the house saying that. And you know, at the time, we all lived with my grandma. She had a big house at the time, and we all was under there. So my mother was probably going to the store or something, and I was in the house. Grandma was watching me, and but she was upstairs cleaning up, and she just heard me downstairs watching this movie, and I started saying, "Yeah, I'm a f you up," and she came downstairs. And I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, Grandma, I'ma f you up." Woo!
I gotta say,
Huh?
there's nothing funnier than a prepubescent voice cursing.
Yes. I thought because I heard Eddie Murphy said I thought it was funny. She looked at me and I knew I said I done did something, but I don't know what I did. I'll figure it out once if I survive this. I'll figure it out. But she looked at me, but the way I was saying it, she could tell, okay, he watching a movie, so he don't know what he's saying. But she usually just start punching me and beat me up. That's how you know you did something wrong. But she did something different this time. She looked at me, but she set me down. And I was so scared because I said, I'm about to get a beat. I'm gonna tell you, there are a few people I don't want to ever get beatings from. One, of course, is my grandma, my Aunt Cherie, and my Aunt Carolyn. I don't want to ever get no beatings from them. The guys, my uncles, I was scared of them, but it's once again, it's like I'm used to them punching me in the face and all that and roughing me up. You know, that was part of becoming a man. And I really needed more of that. I would probably be more masculine today if I got more of that. But they were out, you know, doing their thing. So we were left with the women. So I didn't want to get a beating. My mother didn't really beat us. She didn't,
I
but when she did, she didn't do it as much. But when she did, it was bad. But it was like whatever. But my grandma was the worst of all. I didn't want to get a beating from her. So when she sat me down, she said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you off with this. Do you love me?" I said, "Yes, Grandma. I love you with all my heart." She said, "Well, if you love me, you won't cuss in front of me." And I was like, "Okay, I can do that." And you won't cuss when I'm not around. You won't cuss behind my
Ooh,
back. And at
wow.
4 years old, that's what you think. I said, "Well, I love you so much, Grandma. If it means not cussing behind your back, because at 4 years old, I'm thinking if I cuss behind her back, I don't love her." So that was instilled in me that even when she's far away, I still don't want to cuss because I love her, right? So I'm not gonna cuss in front of her, but I'm not gonna cuss. But like she's not here right now, but you're not gonna get me to say MF or the B word when I'm out in public. I don't care how mad I get. Like I said, the only time I'll say this is when I'm hitting it from the back with a nice fine little cutie. That's it. Because I know that's gonna make her come real hard because she when she meet me, she gonna realize I don't cuss. Why you don't cuss? A lot of girls say that. Why you don't cuss? They'll tell me, Brian, say the F word. Say the F word. I'll show you a titty if you say an F word. I say, once you show me that and some more, and then I get inside, I'll say anything you want me to say. But until then, I can't do that right now.
Can we talk about the implements that our parents and grandparents used? My uncle had a belt, and my grandmother had a hairbrush, and I can't remember. I think my mother and my father just used their hands to slap us around. What do you people use for weapons for their kids?
Whatever is nearby. My grandma would take her own husband and use him to beat us if he's nearby. You know, whatever it is. I remember that I heard countless stories of my uncle saying this. We got the end of it. My grandma was retiring from beating when we came along, but we got like the last few years of her beating us, and then she retired. But my
Yeah.
uncles and my aunts, they was like, nah, the woman that y'all got now is not the you hear that all the time in every family. This ain't the woman that we grew up with. Nah, this one, because my uncle say grandma will grab extension cords, pots and pans. Then and of course, my aunt had a funny story where she was saying my Uncle Doohickey, his name is really Uncle Carl, but we call him Uncle Doohickey. I tend to be more like my Uncle Doohickey. He was more quiet, and he got the less beatings out of everybody. My mother got the most beatings. My mother was very she was very adventurous and more mischievous. She was more of the daredevil. But my Uncle Doohickey was more like I'm more like my Uncle Do. If I say this, I'm more like my Aunt Carolyn and my Uncle Doohickey combined. I'm like them out of everybody. So my Uncle Doohickey, because he didn't get much of the beatings, my grandma would send him out to get the switches to beat the rest of the siblings. And my aunt was like, I had to teach him how to go out and get the switches because he would go out and get the biggest switches with the thorns and stuff on it. So my aunt was like, no, you got to get the ones that break easily. So she was teaching him how to go get the switches to beat her. And then he would go and get like 50 switches and put it in the house. So when my grandma come back from work, because she was working 2 and 3 jobs, she would have the switches to go through and beat everybody up. And my aunt was throwing them out the window. So he'll have like 50 switches, but by the time my aunt come and got all the switches, I'll be down like to 15. Because she's like, I can't get beat up with 50 switches, but I can handle 15. That's like Jesus getting swiped with the 39 lashes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's how we do whatever and of course we use our hands. uh Parents use their hands. I think that's probably, you want to know why black people are so aggressive. That's probably part of the reason why. Now when you said that your mother used belts and stuff, that surprised to me. I thought maybe this is the new generation of white people. I thought that y'all would be like, okay, Bob, time out. No, that's wrong. You go in the corner and put on a dunce hat, or you sit down and talk to them. You know, like during sex, if the child walks in, a white child walks in and his white parents having sex, they immediately stop and they say, oh, cover up. And then the father goes outside, sit down with the son and say, son, I got some things I got to tell you. I think it's time to have to talk about the birds and the bees. Now you switch over to the black family, daddy ain't stopping. If I come in the room, dad, hey, close the door. Hey, close the door if I beat you. I'm busy right now. And then next thing you know, after that, then he come up like, whew, yeah, I had to get it in with your mama, boy. You gonna live and you gonna learn, baby. See, that's how we do. And
Yeah.
then when we get in trouble, it's always sit down, shut up, and punching in the face. And that's all we know when we get older is to be violent. Meanwhile, I'm thinking the white parents, they sit down and talk to their children and tell them the difference from right and wrong. And that's why when they get older, instead of responding with violence, they respond with reasoning. I guess that's how it's typically set up.
Yeah, nowadays I would say white families are really against corporal punishment, and they'll let the kids just run roughshod all over them. Like, okay, Johnny, I understand you're feeling a little off today. It's okay. Meanwhile, the kids just running around destroying the house and doing whatever. But it is technically illegal to beat your kid, and this always put me in a quandary because when I ran Rise for 19 years, anytime I heard of any abuse or neglect, I was supposed to report it, which really meant I could be calling Child and Family Services constantly because kids are always showing up at school without their school supplies or without the proper clothes. And that was technically in that category, right? So I really waited for the most severe cases, like if you could really see bruises or if I knew kids were starving or something like that. But then the other part about it was Child and Family Services weren't that effective to begin with. So then you have
Are they more effective now?
No, I don't think so, unfortunately.
I think because now I don't even think people are going to school like they used to. You got the phones now, they tell you everything.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
then you got the administration now that's just trying to do away with education altogether.
Yeah, I need to get to Colbert though, because there's a thing happening to Colbert. You know him as a comedian, which is great. And I think my visitor who's here kind of knows who Colbert is, but Colbert's undergoing a certain situation with our government. And it seems like all my white friends know about it and they're very upset about it. And all my black friends are like, well, whatever. I've got more important things to worry about.
You better tell me what this is because I don't know what's going on.
And well, let me
I don't got cable anymore.
Yeah, let me just say one more thing to preface this, and that's that I think it gets back to my feeling that white people are much more likely to protest for their rights, right? If they're being denied the freedom of speech or assembly or whatever, they don't care so much about guns, but that's another thing.
Right.
I think black people are kind of used to being denied their rights, to being subjugated, to
Yes,
being
yes,
subservient,
absolutely.
to not being heard, to not being seen. And Colbert has a very successful, the most popular late night show, right, on CBS.
I believe so. Yes.
And CBS and its parent company have undergone some changes where there's a merger or an acquisition going on, and it needed the approval of essentially the president. The president had to sign off on this merger and acquisition. And one of
Uh-oh.
his conditions was get rid of Colbert. Colbert is like one of the leading voices against the president, and
Wow.
his last night is tonight. And every other talk show host is going to rerun so that people can focus on his situation. He's basically being silenced by our government, although he could always go on YouTube and keep talking. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's really kind of a sad story in our and I don't want to get too topical, except to say that your people don't seem to either be too aware of it, or if they are aware of it, it's like, hey, welcome to our world. It's that type of
Yeah,
thing.
that's it. We whatever. We would
I mean,
matter of fact, you actually have more white people that will protest for our rights than we would.
that's right. When the whole shootings were starting to become public 6, 8, 10 years ago, our people were out there, the ones who feel guilty enough, and just trying to say something about it.
There's a guy at work that freed me, and I probably said this before, I'm not sure, that freed me from all of this. Because, like I said, we shall overcome and all this stupid stuff. I ain't got time for that. Because if we fight for whatever we're going to fight for, think about the people in the 1960s that fought for our rights and died off only for us to be reverted back. They done took the Voting Act out and all that. We'll most likely get it back. I'm sure we will. But it's like just to even go through that. So we went through all of this fighting and we shall overcome and all that stuff just for Trump to get in and do what he's doing. It's like it's a waste of time. So somebody at work told me this. He said, Brian, forget all that. Just play the game, get what you need to get for you and your family, and you'll be fine. Set up, if anything, some type of wealth or some type of inheritance for your family. Because playing in this, trying to fight against this systemic racism and all that, it's gonna be here. Racism ain't going nowhere. It's gonna be here. So the best thing and at the end of the day, we're fighting against some of our opponents, but the reality is we're gonna need some of them. You could sit here and hate white people all you want to, but all of them are not your enemies. Sometimes some of your enemies is the one that look just like you. And vice versa. I mean, you got some white people that are going to stand with you. So there's no need to be mad at them. And then I'm sure some of them realize, hey, black people, we need them too. So it's all about whoever's going to be on the same page. Because I'm going to tell you something. If me and this white guy is on the same page, but me and my brother, as far as being black, we ain't on the same page, and I'm going with the white guy. I'm sorry. I all this colorism and racism, I used to be in that, but I'm not in that no more. I'm about who got my best interest at heart, and I got their best interest at heart, and we can get along and nobody dies. Because I'm telling you, I can go down the street and one of my fellow black Americans might shoot me just to take my shoes or my money or whatever. Black on black crime. We never say too much about that.
It's amazing to me how ingrained racism is. It just never goes away.
It's not going anywhere.
And I don't know if you know the comedian Gerard Carmichael. I don't think we've talked about him on the air, but he's got this whole bit about how he came out to his family as a gay person. He's a black comedian.
Ooh.
And he came out to his family finally, and they embraced him. They love him. I mean, his parents are, really, do you really have to do this? But then they still love him. And then he started dating white guys, and everybody got pissed off at him because he was dating, and it was like a big problem. So the racism was more of a problem for him than
being gay, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: I don't know what his previous experience was with black guys, but before we judge it, it is something alarming to look at. Like, why all of a sudden you dating white guys? See, I'd be like this. Let me tell you why. Like me, my bucket list, not my bucket list. I'm gonna say this, Mr. Penniman. I want to settle down. I can't wait to have my baby mama. I can't wait to be a baby daddy. I told you Nick Cannon is my idol. If I could have money like him and have like 8 or 9 baby mamas and we all live in the same house, that'd be awesome because like I said, I'll deal with uh baby mama number 1 on Monday and then baby mama number 2 on Tuesday and then go down the line. Mama number 3 on Wednesday. See, I'll be able to rotate around and I can have them
So
all in one place. That's my dream. I ain't gonna lie,
you
that's my dream. But
you
before I
think
settle, huh?
you think you can be as organized as that white family in that HBO show we were talking about, where they all live next to each other, and he can just?
Yes, I'll do all, if I had the money, I'll do all of that.
I think I
If I
think
if I can't have enough money to buy them their own house, I'll have it where I have a mansion. Like Nick Cannon got a big mansion. I think some of his baby mamas are scattered all across the country. He go visit. I said, why do that when you could bring them all in one place and you ain't gotta be missing in a child's life and fly over here and see this child, then fly back over here and see this child. All of them. I'll have Mariah Carey, all of them. But we can go to her house since she got
I
more money and we all
I
be together. And that's my dream. I know some people look at me like, what's wrong with you? But I would love to have at least 2 or 3 baby mamas and we all get along and I see them and then we just be one big happy blended family. But before I settle that way, I want to be a whore and go around and sleep with different women just to get it out my system. So once I'm done with that, I can settle down. Now, I'm not going to be a whore in DC. I'm gonna have to go out of town because with this HIV and AIDS epidemic or whatever, they got this little silence, what's it called? Statistics of DC being one of the highest HIV and AIDS rated areas in the country. I'm not risking sleeping around in this area in DC. I'm gonna go out of town. Even though you're risking it, doing it anyway, anywhere, I'm not taking my chances here. So,
Okay,
but
now
one of the things I want to do is I want to sleep with a white woman before I settle
white
down.
white people tend to wear condoms, and they can maybe solve the HIV problem a little bit. Are you saying you're just going
Well, that's the
raw?
thing. If I sleep around and put on a condom, you have to put on like 3 condoms to deal with these girls because they'll burn through 2 of them. So that's why I'd rather just go out and try be a whore elsewhere. It's safer. I'm not saying it's completely safe, but it's I'm better out there than over here. But I wanna sleep with a white woman before I settle down. I want to be with a sister. I do because I feel like if I be with a white woman, I fall in love with her, she fall in love with me. That's it for that. And then they're gonna be like, well, Brian, why did you trade in the sisters? I can see Umar Johnson now mad at me. But
Are
I'd be
there
like, well,
any?
she treat me better than I had sister. I had so many black ex-girlfriends. All they did, they took all my food stamps, they took all my money, they ate up all the chicken at my mama's house, right? I told you they tried to run me over with the car. Every time they come in, it's always once I run out of money, then they don't love me no more. But a white girl may be the one that take me in when I ain't got nothing but $1, and she'll build me up to the point where I'll be running my own business, and then she'll turn to the sisters and say, when he was down, y'all wasn't for him. Y'all took everything he got, and then when he ain't got no more, y'all went on to the next guy. So I saw him and I built him up and made him got his own business. I put everything in her name. But see, that's when the Tiger Woods situation come in, where it's like, see, I ain't got to worry about that because it ain't like the woman coming to me and I got all the money. She came to me with the money and then she built me up. So I ain't got to worry about the Tiger Woods situation. But if I was in the Tiger Woods situation, that's when dating a white girl would be dangerous because they're not going to. That's when I'll trust the black girl more because all she want is child support. But that white woman would take your house and your car and your dignity all at the same time in court. So
Are there any? Are there any white people who have like 10 kids with 10 different women?
you said what?
Are there any white people like Nick Cannon, or I was also thinking of NBA YoungBoy. You know him, right?
I've heard of him. Yes, he's
Do you know what
probably
the
if
NBA?
he got like a lot of children, he's probably my idol.
Do you know what the NBA stands for?
Oh, I know it's something stupid. I know it ain't.
Never,
I know it ain't have nothing to do with basketball.
never broke again. But I'll tell you, with 12 kids with 11 different women, he is going to be broke again.
Yes. I thought the N was for the N word.
No, it's not like NWA. No,
Oh, I thought it was N word broke again.
no.
Okay, because like you said, with 12 children, you're going to be that way. But he,
How is it? How is it that I know what NBA YoungBoy stands for and you don't?
I
How does that
told you,
work?
Mr. Penniman, you're different from me. I told you. That's why when I get into bed with the woman and I start saying like profanities to her, and yeah, take this, and then I say the D word and all that, that's gonna make her come hard because she's already gonna know you don't usually say that, but you say that for the bedroom and you do it well. I'm like, yeah, because I saved this for certain occasions. But yeah,
Hey,
like you said about the comedian that's dating the white guys, that's I said all that to say, does he talk about it's that alone sounds funny. So I know the parents are questioning why white guys? Why you couldn't go with black? Okay, all right, we already got to deal with you being gay.
and
Why you
not
got to
just
be
his
gay and
parents,
then you going with white gay guys? Do
not
we
just his
explain where that
parents,
come from?
not just his parents, but his friends who are his age, female and male,
Yeah,
platonic friends.
everybody,
So
all his black people, right?
yeah, there's this level of understanding they had to get to accept his gayness, and then it was just too much for him to be dating a white guy. It was too much for them.
It was too much. So everything he could have committed murder and did terrorist attacks and all that, but as soon as he dated a white guy, oh my god.
As a white person, I think that offends me a little bit, you know?
But I want to know, it's got to be a reason for it. Is it just a preference of his? Does it mean like, well, it's it's a like we wonder why when black guys become successful, especially athletes, they go with the white trophy wife. Why is that? Now I gave you my reason why. If I go with a white girl, which I am going to sleep with a white woman before I settle down, I'm gonna make that my business. I'm just gonna go on one of these sex apps and just find one and go out of town, maybe out to Fredericksburg or somewhere, and get her. And we at least I can say I slept with a white girl for once. My reason is, and if I do fall in love and we get married or have some kids, and then Umar Johnson and them coming to me like, why? You had so many other African sisters that's just as light as her. If you wanted the light skinned girl, we got a lot of African sisters you could have been with. Why you had to go with what do you call them? The snow bunny, the silver foxes. I'm gonna say because she loved me. She picked me up when I was down. All your sisters, they came and I was together and they came and tore me all the way down. Then gonna try to run me over with the car. So when the white girl came, she loved me. And she built me up. Now I got my own business because of her. That's why I married her. Yeah. And she got a nice big old booty like a sister. Because these white girls are built differently than they used to be. The good old days when, like I said, you flip your wife over and you iron your shirt with her back and her butt, and then you go to work. It ain't like that no more. These white girls are thick now. Sometimes when they walking past, I'm looking at her. I think it's a black girl, and I'm like, God, dog. And then she turn around, and I see that old face. I'm like, oh God, that's a white lady. But the body is tea. It's wonderful. So
Do you
yeah,
think
that's my reason. But I wonder if Carmichael is he stating his reasons why he's just dating white guys? Did the black guys hurt him?
he doesn't get into that, but I guess he's just physically attracted to what is it, gingerfication? Is that the word we were using?
Yes. It's
His
got to be everything got to be a precondition for that.
his love life is getting gingerfied.
Yes, maybe he was turned out by a white guy. When he first, maybe the black guys didn't accept him, but the white gay guy was like, yeah, come on. He might have been turned out, but it could be just he just like white guys. But I can't just take that. Oh, I just like white guys. It's got to be a reason behind that. I would like for one day he explained that because that's probably gonna be funny in itself. Like, oh, I like white guys because the white guy was the first thing that turned me out. And or it could be like with the athletes, that the black athletes that get the trophy wife, it's a certain perception that they have. When you have a white wife as a black man, you are in the high status of prestige, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's a reason behind it, but it's like at the end of the day, we all gonna do whatever we gonna do, whether we gay or we're slut or we hate white people or black people. At the end of the day, whatever. Just don't kill nobody.
All right, so let's see if we can get off sex for 10 minutes. It's graduation
It's gonna
season
be
this time
hard.
of year. And I
Okay.
was telling 20 off the air that I noticed. I went to 2 black graduations and 1 white one over the weekend in May. And when you get up to get your diploma as a white person, you're trained to just take it, walk a few steps, shake hands, very formally shake hands, take a picture, and walk off. And maybe you might hear just a little bit of clapping, and maybe somebody go, yes. That's what we have to say, yes.
Yes.
And then that's it. And like every 5 seconds they could yell out a name, and the thing goes pretty quickly.
Oh my God, where are you going with this, Mr. Penniman?
Now the black graduation, and everyone's fine with that. I mean, we're fine with it. We're falling asleep as it is. We're just waiting for the one person that we know to be announced.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, at my high school graduation, we didn't have any announcements of names. I'm sure that would not play these days. They just passed them out, and we just somehow got all the diplomas out there. But at the black graduations, the person might come up, and first of all, they have more names for it's John Smith or Paul Penniman. But in the black graduations, it's Delonte, Marquez, Simpson, Robinson. It's like 4 names or something. And the person comes up, and there's wild cheering. It's like, honk, honk. They're not supposed to bring in noisemakers, but you hear this honking. And there's like, yeah. And the everyone's like having a heart attack up in the balcony. And the guy might do a little dance. He's dancing around. He's going back and forth. He does maybe a cartwheel and everything. And everyone's going crazy. They love the dancing. And people who don't know him are starting to clap. And it's taking like 20 seconds. And I'm like, we got to get through this thing.
And that's just one graduate.
It reminded me when I was younger and white people dominated the NFL. There was a day where there were many more white players in the NFL than black players. And there was no celebrating when you got to the end zone. There was this old white football coach named Tom Landry, and he'd say, son, when you get to the end zone, you act like you've been there before. And here we have a black person graduating, and they're going absolutely nuts. They're going crazy. And even the people up on the stage, the deans and the guests are going, yeah, way to go, boy, way to dance, all that thing. And the white, if it happened at a white ceremony, they're like, I don't know, we might have to take that diploma back from him. That was too much. So do you want to weigh in? You want to give us your analysis of this cultural difference?
I could, but I didn't graduate much. But I will say that we are rowdy at our graduations. I'm surprised you didn't see no fights at our graduation or at your graduation, the black graduations. I don't know how true this is, but I'm seeing people do crazy stuff in our culture. Black people, when they walk up on the stage and they get their diplomas. I don't know if some of the girls twerking or doing splits, and the guys, what's that thing? They go like this, where they lean in from one side to the other. What is that even called?
I don't know. I'm not a dancer.
But they make it. The rappers are doing. They make the dance moves and call it something, or like doing the stinky leg back in the day and all that kind of stuff. So they doing the lean with it, rock with it. They doing with the Superman or whatever they call it up on the stage while they getting their diploma. I seen one principal told that guy that tried to come up there and try to do some crazy dance that he seen a rapper do, and he told him, you go right back and walk like a regular person to come get this diploma. So it's like they doing all kinds of stuff at graduations. I remember in junior high school, when we did our graduation, how when we wave and we take our hats and we throw it in the air, when they was waving their middle fingers up.
Do you remember your speaker at graduation?
At junior high school or high school?
High school.
It was Marion Barry.
Wow. I don't remember that one. I mean, I remember his being on the stage, but I don't remember him giving a speech.
I think it was him. I don't know who. I remember him being there, but I think he was the one that was giving us the speech.
I feel like I went to all the graduations at Anacostia.
No, and Kilgo had the lovely Roberta Flack come in.
Ooh.
Yes. But see, like I said, we were so loud and like, and it wasn't like we were loud, like we were angry. But you know how when black people talk, we just loud. So it's like, you know how you have a side conversation, but when black people have side conversation, it don't sound like a side conversation. Like, you know how white. I've been on a train, the yellow line, the subway, metro, DC. I was on the yellow line. This is when black people get pissed off because sometimes we don't pay attention when we at LaFont Plaza and we walk on that yellow line thinking it's the green line. As soon as we hit that bridge going into Virginia, I was like, God dog. Now I know I'm on the yellow line.
Yeah,
So
I've
we had
done
to
that a
get
couple
back on.
times.
Yeah. But I was on the train on the yellow line with the white folks, and they were all talking, and it was like this. I'm like, what are they saying? And even when I was thinking to myself in my thoughts, I was louder than them. They was like, but when I'm on that green line, it sounds like a concert. A girl on the phone talking to her baby daddy on the green line. And they really ain't talking about nothing but just probably eating some chicken or paying some bills or, yeah, you got to come get the kids. So at the graduation, we were all loud, but that's just what we do. But Kilgore was like, hey, wait a minute. Because Roberta Flack was beginning to sing and he stopped her. He said, wait a minute, I need everybody to be quiet. We have a legend in here and she's and you don't get this much. And she's performing, and I need everybody to be dead silent so we can hear this beautiful queen sing. And see, if a white person come up and say, everyone settle down, it'll take us like black folks 10 minutes, but Kilgore knew what to do. He was like, hey, this is how Kilgore was like, hey, yo, that's how he always say, yo, hey, yo. As soon as we heard that, we respond to loud. So if you loudly telling us to be quiet, then we'll settle down. And she began to perform her song, Killing Me Softly with His Song. And it was nice.
That song was about a white person.
Really? Explain.
Don
Real quick.
McLean wrote a song back in the 70s that was my favorite song for years. And I used to sing it myself. Not her song, but his original song was called American Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Which was not the movie related to the movie at all, but it was just nostalgic about Buddy Holly and the Stones and Elvis and the Beatles and all these old white performers. And yeah, for some reason she turned it into her song about nostalgia too. So that was a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And then of course Lauryn Hill took it to another level, and that kind of thing. But yeah, we're very rowdy at our graduations. The white graduation. So when you went to the white, okay, do you fall asleep more at the white graduations or the black ones?
First of all, I have to say this, in front of our millions of listeners. I have a confession to make. Okay. I never get there on time anymore because the speeches are terrible. The same thing every year, and then there's just 1,000 names read off. And that's awful. So I try to get there like an hour late. I miss all the parking and people all getting upset about they can't find a parking spot or whatever. Right. And I get there just as the last speech, and they're just starting the names. And the person who's graduating doesn't really care that I got there late because I get to say hello, hey, congratulations afterwards.
Yeah, as long as you show up.
And it takes so many hours. It's like 4 hours for them. And they understand that they don't, their friends and relatives.
Now, how long it takes for the white graduations? Are y'all on time? Y'all in and out?
If they read the names, sometimes they read the names off every 5 seconds. It goes so fast because you do the math. That's what is that? 12 names a minute. That's 700 names in 1 hour. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just like church. Y'all in and out 45 minutes, but we there all day. We got to make it extra. And really, when you say you get there late, Mr. Penniman, you're really getting there on time.
And I think part of it is we're expecting to graduate. We're expecting to go to college and graduate. It's like not as big of a deal, I think, as for a black kid to sometimes. I mean, I would say a third of those kids were the first ones in their families, or at least they've represented the first generation. They might have been following up with a sibling or something.
Yes.
I mean, it's a much larger percentage of first generation graduates, wouldn't you say? Yeah. So that really means it's a much bigger deal. And I really do understand all the dancing and the cartwheels and all that. But for our
I
people,
think I'm second generation graduate.
oh, okay, that's good. I mean, we might be able to post that picture of me in
As
college
far
that you
as
could
graduating, are you talking about college or high school?
college.
Oh, forget that. I'm talking about high school.
So your mom was the first high school grad in her whole lineage.
No, my mother didn't
Okay.
graduate.
Oh, she didn't graduate. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
When you say first graduate, are you talking about generational? Are you talking about as far as like
Like the
parents, son? Because
first,
I'm thinking like the whole family. Now,
if
if
you
you
go
talking
back to your
about
parents,
okay, well
grandparents,
then I'm first. Then I'm number one.
right, right.
That's a
Yeah,
shame.
we
I'm thinking you talking about because my aunts graduated. So I'm thinking if they was part of that generation because my mother was in that, then I'm see I learned something today. So I'm thinking that's part of the first generation. So if anybody from that first generation graduate, then after that is me or my brother, whatever. So if we're going in succession of grandmother to mother to then I'm number one. I am
yeah,
number one.
yeah.
And I
Because
was at an interview one day. The guy was interviewing me for a position, and he said, "Well, what is what is like two or three of your accomplishments that you're proud of?" As if like I got so many. I'm just glad to be alive, and that I got a high school diploma. I couldn't even say it. I'm like, why? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me that. I'm like, listen, all I want is a job to just stock groceries at night. Why do we got to get so personal here? It's not a big deal. Well, name a time when you and name some of your biggest accomplishments in life. I just want to stock groceries on the shelf. It's not like I'm trying to become a CEO or something. Why we got to go this deep? But I told him my biggest accomplishment is getting my high school diploma because I know I ain't going no further. But this is
well,
college. Oh my
well,
God.
to get serious for a second, I think
Sure.
you're taking great care of your elder relatives. You know, if this were a white person like me, we would just hire somebody. You know, I'll go watch my mother for a day or two. You know, we would just pay them. But you're
That's so
going around
depressing.
different parts of Southeast, taking care of your aunt and your grandmother and your mother and your stepfather and all these people. And we're just hey, we're too busy. We're just gonna, farm it
Yeah,
out to somebody.
I'm running around and I'm with my grandma, then I'm with my stepdad, then my mother, and then my aunts, and I love my family because they look out for me. So when they say, "Well, Brian, do you ever have time to yourself?" Not really. I don't even know time in to masturbate. I got to get going. Blah, 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 blah. It's always something to do, but they help me out.
Well,
So they took care of me. So that's the least I can do.
they
I'll take
provide you
you out
with
in a couple of sex sessions when I get a chance, but other than that, my family is very important.
they provide you with the mac and cheese and the chicken.
Yes, which is going to kill me eventually, but guess what? They're killing me in love. They're killing me softly.
That's right. Hey, are we running out of time? Are we about done?
Yeah, about done, but I got one more thing I want to say. We could
Okay.
take about a good 10 minutes with this and then I'm out of here. Because
Okay.
you know what? Um, it was episode 7. I really liked it. Episode 7. We talked about the police. I talked about my situation about the guys getting shot in the building.
Yeah.
But you briefly talked about yours. And I didn't really have much to say about it because when you said it was like, oh, okay, I expect that. But then as I go back and look at it, I was really shocked. Because remember, you said that, okay, they already giving you PTSD with the shooting. So now they're gonna do the firecrackers and all that. But this particular time it wasn't firecrackers, it was actually them shooting. You saw the boys went at an angle running, and you realized that your windshield in the back was targeted.
Right. And you're getting to what the cops said. That's what you're getting to, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
cops. So
Yeah.
because we were talking about that earlier. So you said that and of course you was worrying about the game. Of course, any typical white person will worry about the game. But you said the police came over, white officer came over to investigate and take down some notes. And what did you say again? You said,
Well, I said to him, and he must have thought I was part of his private club that he could say anything he wanted to,
there we go.
because
Yes.
I said to him, well, I did a little research online about what's going on with this shooting, and I saw that 4 people were shot. And I said, I hope they were not shot. I hope they're not seriously hurt. And he
Right.
said, well, maybe serious to them, but not to me.
Now, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, that's typical. But when I looked, a shock value came over me slowly, like, this man really said this. And because you're white, Mr. Penniman, like you said, he just said, oh, this is my fellow white guy. I can be honest with him. So yeah, oh yeah, I ain't worried about it. And then of course, when my story came in, it validates that when Eddie Murphy made that skit back in 1984, which was he was ahead of his time with that. And all it is just exposing what's already going on. It makes me really believe there is a we already know it's a code with white people of what's really going on and how they feel about us and all that kind of stuff. Like, okay, I'm talking to my white fellow guy, which he don't know that you're more blacker than I can ever be. He'll be better off telling me that than you. But because he was comfortable with you because you white, he says something like that, which lets me know how the police really feel about black people. But I want to know, Mr. Penniman, do we also play a part in that to our own demise?
We meaning you black people or two of us together?
Black people, black people. If you're with us, we're pretty much saved.
Well, I mean, it's not a great idea for us to be running around with guns. Guns usually don't lead to any good behavior.
No.
So,
and I understand sometimes you run around with guns because we in the hood, they're doing illegal activity. The system is already against us, but that's still not an excuse to do some of the things we do. Like, well, they make it hard for a black person to be employed. So I got to get out in the streets and do what I got to do. And then when you're in the streets and you got to do what you got to do, violence occur. Or there's potential for shootings and people getting killed. So you got to carry a Glock with you. You got to be protected. I understand that. So the system have it where it's more against us than anything, but there's still no excuse to do some of the things that we do. Like I like once we finish with this, I'm going to work. I'm not sitting out on, by the gas station and waiting all day to sell some weed. I'm actually going to work, and then I'm trying to apply for a second job. That's why I was telling the guy my biggest accomplishment was having my high school diploma. I'm just trying to start some groceries. See, I'm doing all that. I'm doing something where I won't get in trouble. So I'll say this. I was on the bus. Yes, you already know. We try to get away from girls and sex, but it's just going to be a part of it. But it always leads us to what we're really talking about.
You sometimes get the male bus driver who hits on you.
Yes, I get him, but I know what to do with him. I tend to know what to do with gay guys and put them in their place before I do an attractive black girl. Black girl, she'd be like, what's it? And she cute, and she like, what's your name? I forget my name. What's my name? But then a gay black guy, I'd be like, hey, sir, I sorry about that. You can do what you need to do, but I ain't with that. Oh, I respect you, brother. I respect you. Okay, cool. But why I can't be masculine like that when a black cute girl come to me? I'd be peeing in my pants. But there was one girl on the bus. I saw she was so cute. And I see this, I seen her one time, but I said, if I see her again, I'm going to talk to her. But I didn't know she was going to say something to me first. So when I saw her the second time, I was like, oh my God, that means I got to say something. But she saw me first and she was like, what's your name? I've been seeing you around lately. I forgot my name. I was like, what's my name? What's my name? I was getting ready to say $20. But I said, my name is Brian. She's like, oh, okay, all right. And then she told me her name. I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't know if she'll ever see this. And I don't want no problems. I want to say it's similar to my name, which is actually kind of cute. It's similar to my name, but the girl version of it. So we sat down, we started talking. So you know me, I'm talking to her and I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to try to get them digits, the phone number. And then eventually I'm going to get them draws. Now I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Penniman. When you're trying to get a girl's phone number and you're trying to get her draws, you do not get into any kind of debate with her, right? So I don't know how we got into this, but she was talking about her brothers. She said she got brothers, which also scared me. So that means if I do get with her, I better act right or the brothers are coming after me. So she got like 3 or 4 brothers. And she said, oh, you favor them. And I'm like, is that a good thing? She was like, oh, yeah, all my brothers are handsome. I'm like, okay, I'm in there. But then somehow we got into it where she was saying, they do some illegal activities every now and then, and they had a brush in with the law. So we got into the fact about the police and George Floyd and all that stuff. And I just said this, and it pissed her off too. But I was just saying this. I said, listen, I understand that the police brutality is evil and is out here, and they shouldn't do this to us. But we sometimes cause our own demise. I've been saying this throughout this show in all the episodes. If the police come to you and you take off running and you're exciting the situation, get your hands off me. You're exciting the situation. They already want to shoot us. Now you're giving them a reason to shoot us. And I think part of that is because they feel like this is my time for my claim to fame. If I get shot and survive, and this is just another George Floyd situation, I could be on television and be famous. I know that's what they're thinking in their heads sometimes. And really, to be honest with you, I'm not playing with none of that. I've had some encounters with the police several times, Mr. Penniman. Look at me. I'm black. Even my aunt was telling me the other day she kind of want me to dress a certain way sometimes, which I do. You know, most of the time I got on a tie. But when I'm going outside, like to meet her somewhere, I try to dress more like I'm going to do something illegal opposed to looking legal, because I don't want to look like a victim. I'd rather look like the one that's going to cause the problem so they can leave me alone.
You look very arrestable.
Yeah. Arrestable. God, dog. Thank you. But she was kind of worried. She said, I just want you, because I don't want you to get shot, Brian. And you're innocent. And she said I was intelligent. I was like, oh, she's going so far. Thank you, Auntie. She said, you smart, you go to work, you mind your business. And I just don't want the police to attack you because you're not like them hoodlums out there. And I understand that. But what I do is, because I've already had my brush-ins with the police. Not brush-ins, because when I say brush-ins, that means you running off. I've had my encounters with them. But you know why I don't end up on the news and being shot, or you don't hear anything going on with me? It's because I cooperate. I talk to them like a regular person. Hello, officer, how y'all doing? And they're like, they're looking at me already like, you don't believe. I'm just waiting for the bus to go to work or coming home. They already questioned me like I shouldn't be in this area, but they were polite. But guess what? And if I had to, one time I did put my hands up, and the guy was like, put your hands down. I'm like, no, I'm just got it up. So I won't do nothing. He was like, what's in your pocket? Because I had my wallet, but I had my money in there, and it was my rent money, and it was in tens and 20s. So my wallet was fat. So it was a bulge on my right side of my pants. He was like, what's that? I said, that's my wallet with my rent money in it. I got tens and 20s in there. I'm trying to make sure I, get it for $100 bills so my wallet won't be so fat so I won't get robbed. He was like, take it out. I said, you take it out, sir, with my hands up. I'm not going in there for you to shoot me. You go in my pocket and get it. And he looked at me and said, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. Have a great day. And I was like, phew. But I talk to them. I'll be like, how y'all doing? Have a nice evening. Have a great day. Oh, where you heading to? Oh, I'm heading off to work. Oh, I'm just getting off work. I talk to them. I don't be like, what you want? What you want me? I ain't do nothing. Don't come near me. And then pull out my phone so you can record them and start going off. Get your hands off me. I ain't do nothing. And then they start shooting you. And then you end up like because with George Floyd, they should have never did that to him when he said he couldn't breathe. Now we use that. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. If you can't, like you see the cops, do you ever watch them cops episodes? They have it on the internet where you see like documentaries of people, the cops arresting people. And
yeah, well,
it's black people. Black people, they're like,
huh? Called Cops. Wasn't there a TV show called Cops, and they were always
they were arresting like they were arresting like white
drug-addled or drunk people.
Yeah, but cops seemed, when I saw the show Cops, they seemed like they was arresting a lot of like white trash.
Yeah,
but I'm saying like on the internet, they actually got like real profile documentaries on the YouTube of our black people getting arrested. I just watch it just to see how crazy we are so I can know what not to do. And the first thing they do is they either say, the girls be like, I'm pregnant, like that's gonna do something. And the guys be like, I can't breathe. Then the girls be like, I can't breathe. But then like, oh, you can breathe, because if you couldn't breathe, you wouldn't be screaming and hollering, cussing at me. So George Floyd started that. But see, I didn't really look into what happened with George Floyd, except for the fact that man put his knee on his neck and killed him. But I was like, what led to them running after him in the first place? What I heard is they saw him, he took off running and tried to jump a fence or something like that, and they was running after him, the police.
I don't know if there was that active an escape plan or anything like that, because it was just a few feet away from the store that he was coming out of. But I think it's just a question of obeying and disobeying. Like if you don't give the officer immediate full attention, They're going to assume the worst. They're going to tackle you. They're going to strangle you. And when they see me, they go, "What are you doing over here anyway?"
Right.
That's
Yeah.
their comment.
They're like, "You
They see a
okay?"
black person, okay, they're just going to tackle them.
Yeah, but see, if I tell my black people, I understand we already in a very serious situation when the police come up. Don't excite it more. I know we're afraid, and that's what I was telling the girl on the bus. And when I was telling her all this, she was like, "Yeah, but what did they?" I'd be like, "Why we're running? Because we're afraid." I said, "Well, afraid of what? They're gonna shoot us." Okay, that's even more for you to cooperate. Don't take off running and going off and screaming and acting a fool when you know that's gonna give them a reason to shoot you. See, if they come at me, Mr. Penniman, and I pull out my phone and they come at me and they shoot me and then they make headline news and stuff like that. See, I will have white people, black people, and even other officers, police officers on my side because they will clearly see that, okay, he was cooperative, he had his hands up, he wasn't screaming, and he was being polite, and y'all still shot him, you know? Because
Yeah.
other situations like, I guess, George Floyd or whatever, when I see my black people, even though the way the police officers come at them and they shouldn't that way, I see that they already raising suspicion, they already yelling and screaming, and it's making the situation worse. So with the girl, she was like, "Oh, they afraid, they running." I said, "Listen, what?" And come to find out, her brothers had brush-ins with the law, and it's personal to her about this, this topic. But they ran, and they got like the police came and got them. But I said, "Well, why are they running?" Because they were afraid, but come to find out they had warrants. So I said, "You're running. A lot of times you're running because you already know if the police catch you and they run your information, they're going to see warrants. So you're running because there's something else going on that shouldn't be going on. I'm not running. That's why I try to make sure all my stuff is right. So when they come at me, I don't have a reason to be afraid of authority because I have my stuff right. I don't have no warrants. I'm not going around robbing nobody, and I'm going to work. So I won't have a reason to run. Except for them shooting me, but that would be more for me to cooperate more and de-escalate the situation. So she got mad at me, and I was like, "Honey, I'm not trying to make you upset, but baby, sweetheart, listen, we got to be better at what we're doing. We excite the situation a lot, and we holler and screaming." I had my run-ins with the police, but I'm alive today because I like a person, and they didn't shoot me. Well, you know how that ended. I didn't get the drawers or the phone number, so I said I should have just went with her and just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna run, and I got some warrants. Maybe I'll be in the bed with her right now." She was so cute, but she was mad at me. So the moral of the story is, don't debate a girl that you're trying to get laid with.
Maybe we
Say
should have
that
a
for when
police.
she have your baby.
Maybe we should have a police officer to join us
And then you
tell
know
us.
what? You say all these people that are going to join us, Mr. Penniman, and I really believe you because you know a lot of people. Get them on here. I can't wait till we get Travis on here. But get them on here. Get the sex lady on here because I need to know some stuff from her, and get the police officer on here so we can get the first. Would you get a black officer or a white officer? Or
I was
both?
going to ask you, should we get a black male, black female, white male, white female, or non-binary?
We could do all of them. Every 1 week we can have a whole segment about not segment, but we can have like a succession of like 4 or 5 episodes dealing with that. And you can get first we can start off. I want to start off with the men
So
and
the
get the
question,
white officer, the black officer, then a white officer and a black a white female officer and a black female officer. And then we can get but before then we get the white officer, black guy, white guy, and then the black guy, police officer.
so the question of the day is going to be, if a young black kid gets shot by the police, whose fault is it?
If what?
If a young, that's what it sounds like you're talking about.
But say it again. Say it again.
If a young black kid gets shot by the police,
Yes.
whose fault is it?
Who's fault? It depends on the situation, Mr. Penniman. Now
Okay.
listen, and I'm gonna close with this. And this is, and I know people gonna get mad if they ever
You
see
know,
this. That's probably why they ain't watching it.
Chris Rock used to advocate, we just need the cops to shoot more white kids. That would be the solution.
If they shoot more white kids, then fine. That's fine. But that's not gonna happen because you're white. So you don't need to take the precautions that we got to take. We have to be smart for our own lives. Now the officers need to be trained more how to deal with the situation. Yes. So at the end of the day, it falls on them because they're the one with the gun. How in the world are you the one with the gun, but you say, I'm afraid for my life? But at the same time, it's like, we got black kids that are carrying guns now. We got children carrying guns and shooting each other because they listen to all this rap music. So I can understand when the police officer come in our neighborhood, they already got their hands on the gun. So they already ready to shoot us and we may not have nothing, but because the way stereotypes are, most of us have some type of weapon or we are in some type of criminal activity. So they don't want to waste no time, but they need to be more trained. But also on our end, we have to be smart enough to know how to deal with the situations for we can save our own lives. Okay. So I know for me, I'm smart enough to know after all this that's been going on and the cameras and all that. That's why I watched some of the stuff on the YouTube. I said, okay, I won't do that. I won't do that. When they come up to me, I'm going to be very polite. That's why I say if they shoot me, they are definitely going to jail. Because when they say, oh, they shot her and they the George Floyd and this and that. And then when you find out the whole thing, you'll see, look what they did. Like I seen several, I forgot, I can't name their names, where the guy got shot and it made headline news. Come to find out he took off running, but they shot him in the back. Now, they shouldn't have did that because he's running away from them. So he's not no threat. But still, you know what they're going to do. They're going to shoot you, whether you're right or wrong. So me, if I'm in that situation, Mr. Penniman, you'll see. You'll be like, okay, we got a real case with this. He did everything right. I wasn't running from them. I was facing them. I did that several times. I was waiting for them to shoot me. I was like, oh, this might be my time. I'm going to be famous. But they never did it because I de-escalated it. I talked to them normally. Where you going, sir? I don't be like, why? Ain't none of your business. I ain't doing that. I don't do that. I'm like, sir, I'm heading, I'm coming from work. I'm just going home and I'm just waiting for the bus.
I'm getting some Skittles.
Getting Skittles. Well, more like a Snickers, but yeah. And on that note, we'll end like that.
All right. Great job. You've been listening to Keeping It 84. I'm Paul Penniman, the old white guy, here with
$20.
The young African-American gentleman.
20 Uncle Ruckus dollars.
And you can get us every Friday. We drop every Friday at noon on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great week, everybody.
All right.